Hey there, it's Bear and welcome to today's video. Really quick intro to this because I have to go. I'm late. This is going to be another installment of the First Time Reads series. This round is going to be a little bit interesting because it is going to be The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. Short, so I'm hoping that I can do it quickly. I'm excited to see what the hype is about. I don't know anything about this book. I think there is a kissing in the rain scene. I have not read a Nicholas Sparks book in a long time. I read Safe Haven, and that was a long time ago. So today I did hit 50 pages. I saw on the back for the author about for Nicholas Sparks, it says that he based this novel on the lives of his wife's grandparents, which I thought was interesting, and I would love to know a little bit more about what is fictional and what isn't. I wasn't sure about what about this was meant to be sad. In the first chapter, at the end of it, I realized what it was implying, but there are some things that so far are not my favorite. The font is quite big, and it's already short as is, so I'm flying through it. There are already some nice quotes. I really liked the first line even, and sometimes in the moments right before sleep came, he wondered if he was destined to be alone forever. I feel that. But there are just little things that are not my favorite. An example would be every morning but Sunday when he had to go to church, he would finish his chores as quickly as possible. I hate that wording. You don't have to go to church, especially, you're referring to a grown man. You don't have to go to church. That is not how it works. If church is I have to go to church, and not I'm choosing to do this, then you need to reevaluate your life a little bit. Another thing has I dialect. It was only once so far, but this best friend of Noah, main character Noah, is a black man, South Carolina. The I dialect is used on his words, but not on any of the other people's words so far. Not on any of the white people's words. I don't know if this is, I haven't noticed if it does this just for the female main character or if it actually does do this for both. But it proceeds to describe in vigorous detail her getting ready process. And it really drags it out way too far. We could have plot, we could have character elements being described here, but what we're being described is her deciding what to wear. She went to the bathroom and started a bath. She takes off specifically her gold earrings, mind you. They're gold, in case you needed to know. Crossed the room to get her makeup bag, where she for some reason stores a razor and bar of soap. She's traveling, mind you, so there's that, but still in the makeup bag. And then, because she's about to take a bath, she begins to undress in front of the bureau. And then immediately the next line to her undressing in front of the bureau is she had been called beautiful since she was a young girl. And once she was naked, she looked at herself in a mirror. I'm sorry, but first of all, she had been called beautiful since she was a young girl. And it focuses on beauty as something only seen in the body and only seen in how much of your body is visible. And then it begins to describe her body as firm and well-proportioned, breasts softly rounded, stomach flat, legs slim. Inherited her mother's high cheekbones, smooth skin, and blonde hair. Her best feature was her own. Eyes like ocean waves. I don't think there's anything I can even say. Perfectly proportioned? According to what? According to who? By whose standard? And here's the real kicker. You're saying this from already having given the allusion to faith in terms of Christianity by referring to church. So you're looking at one woman's body and giving a standard of beauty, saying perfectly proportioned, and then describing her body in specific ways that are human standards, and saying perfectly proportioned as if any body that God created is not. And then it gets even more fun because instead of just having that, it continues to be tragic in the fact that we take an excruciatingly long amount of time walking through her process of getting ready, not learning anything interesting or useful. After that paragraph, we move to taking the razor and barbs that we got earlier, turning off the faucet, and setting a towel where she could reach it and stepping in gingerly to the bath. We spent a whole sentence describing that process, and then she liked the way a bath relaxed her. Blah, blah, blah. She talked a little bit about shopping, and then moved on to the details of reaching for the soap, lathering, and shaving her legs. Okay, that's really not details, but like specifying that she's doing that now. And then as she did, she thought about her parents and what they would think of her behavior. Because she's going to this place to meet up with, or because she's found her past love's location and can now go find him and whatever. And which, you know, she's engaged. Okay, spoilers. We're following Noah and Allie, who met a long time ago, 14 years ago, and were in love, and then went separate ways for whatever reason. And then he went to the war, and she ended up moving. She saw this thing about the house that he's purchased and has been renovating in the newspaper, and so she found him, and she went to go see him. But she's engaged, and so she went saying that she was just going to take some time because she's been stressed. But actually, she really just wanted to go see this guy. And so she just wanted to take some time away and go shopping for antiques. But she's actually going to go see this guy that she fell in love with 14 years ago. We're literally just walking through the process of her getting ready to go do so. So as she's shaving her legs to go see the man that she was in love with 14 years ago while being engaged, going to see him and tell him that she is engaged, she's thinking about her parents' thoughts on her behavior. This is not the vibe. This is not the vibe. So we move on down. She soaks a while longer in the tub, finally getting out and toweling off. She went to the closet and looked for a dress, choosing a long yellow one, blah, blah, blah. Exact details of dress, of course. The kind of dress that was common in the South. Slipped it on, looked in the mirror, turned from side to side, it fit her well and made her look feminine, but she eventually decided against it and put it back on the hanger. Then why didn't you tell us what the dress looked like? Instead, she found a more casual, less revealing dress and put that on. light blue with a touch of lace, buttoned it up in the front. Or it buttoned up in the front, and though it didn't look quite as nice as the first one, it conveyed an image she thought would be more appropriate. Appropriate for what? You're going behind your fiance's back to meet your ex in person and tell him, hey, I'm getting married. What about this seems like propriety is you're in your wheelhouse of what you're capable of comprehending. She wore a little makeup, just a touch of eyeshadow and mascara to accent her eyes. Perfume next, not too much. She found a pair of small hooped earrings and put those on, then slipped on the tan, low-heeled sandals that she'd been wearing earlier. Brushed her hair, pinned it up, looked in the mirror. No, it was too much, she thought. She let it back down. Better. Why are we going through the details of her waffling back and forth on her wardrobe? Getting the details of how much makeup she's going to put on. Putting her perfume on. But why? Our first encounter with getting to learn about this woman, we don't get to learn about her interests, her passions. Her life did do what I planned on doing and hit the 100 pages before I went to sleep. So somebody get me a gold star. In the scenes where they're both there, it goes back and forth in a specific way. So it goes like, oh, Noah turns to the stars. The twinkling lights reminding him blah, 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 and it talks about his headspace for a minute, for like a couple paragraphs. And then it switches, it says, she rested her head against the back of the rocker, closing her eyes, blah, blah, blah. And then it talks about her thoughts for a minute, and then it says, Noah too was sifting through his thoughts, and it switches over to his thinking for a minute. So it's like we're not seeing anything actually happen. We're literally just going back and forth between what he's thinking, what she's thinking, what he's thinking, what she's thinking, what she's thinking, what she's thinking. And it's nothing new or interesting that they're thinking, because they're literally just going through their memories of what happened 14 years ago versus right now and what they should do, because they're both having feelings, even though they won't admit that to themselves entirely. And she's engaged, and they're behind her fiance's back. So she agrees to go see him, spoilers, agrees to go see him the next day. And then we get a new chapter of phone calls, and it's from Lon's perspective, which is her fiance. And he's been calling, trying to figure out, where would she be? And it's like he's figured out that she's gone back to a place that she had an ex. And he's wondering if that's something to do with it, with why she went there. He made up his mind then not to lose her. He would do anything it took to keep her. She was everything he always needed, and he'd never find another quite like her. He recognizes his faults, which I appreciated, but at the beginning of it, he says she'd become everything he'd ever wanted. And I don't love that phrasing, because it feels like it's saying that she had changed, or that his desires for another person had changed to morph into who she is, rather than who he ever, who he'd actually, Does that make sense? Anyway, really is starting to feel like an infidelity situation, which I hate passionately. So I'm really hoping that
maybe it shifts gears a little bit because I cannot respect this book in any capacity if the relationship is founded on cheating. She finds out that he had called. 2 minutes later, in her car driving to Noah, was anticipating the day, largely unconcerned about the phone calls. Yesterday she would have been, and she wondered what that meant. What do you think it means? He gave her a shirt to wear because they were eating crab and it was going to be messy. He was like, okay, let me give you this and you can wear this over your dress so you don't ruin it. And somehow she still has it. And then she sleeps in said shirt. You sleep in the shirt of your ex, and yet you wonder what it means when you're not concerned about your fiance's phone calls. It's not it for me so far. Halfway through, curious to see if something happens in the second half that justifies why this is so popular. Because so far, nothing makes it make sense.
Things got a little interesting. They have this moment. They're out. This is the second day where they went to see each other again, and he had a plan to take her to this place, and then it was stormy and raining. And takes her there, get soaked in the rain. Of course, that means, ooh, sexual attraction. Ooh, baby. And here's what really ticks me off with it is like, until that moment, it hadn't been said this way. But the next page, she says she knew she had fallen in love with Noah again, that maybe, just maybe, she had never stopped. Then, of course, she needs a change of clothes, and she puts on his clothes, and she still looks beautiful, even in a man's clothes. She sits on the couch, and then they start talking, and he asks her what she remembered the most about that summer. And her response is making love. And then she says, "You were always shy, especially in the beginning. I remember you asked if I had a boyfriend, and when I said I did, you barely talked to me anymore." Like, first of all, we're in an era of clear monogamy. So there's no explaining it away. Not only did you cheat on your ex-boyfriend physically and emotionally, but now you're back with the same guy while being engaged and already emotionally cheating on him. He asks her if it was hard to tell him, the boyfriend, and she says, "No, not at all. I was in love with you." They're holding hands. She's laying her head on his shoulder. Okay, I'm gonna try to do the clip anyway, even though it's kind of noisy. I'm sorry. Then they're talking about how she wrote letters to him and never sent them, and he wrote letters to her and he did send them, but she never got them. But she never got them because Mom was intercepting his letters that he was writing to her because she didn't approve of the relationship, which is fair considering Mom probably knew that she had a boyfriend back home. This reminds me of how we once were when we were young. Noah, you've never asked, but I want you to know something. There's never been another. Noah, you weren't just the first. You're the only man I've ever been with. I don't expect you to say the same thing, but I just wanted you to know. If you're engaged and getting married to someone, why would he need to know that? and if you're no longer going to be getting married to that someone, then you probably need to address that before you continue in this vein, out of respect for that person. And the fact that your wedding is in 3 weeks. Literally all we've seen is them talk about memories of the past, but not actually seen the experiences of the past or the creation, the beginning of their relationship in that past timeline. Nor have we seen them, work through issues that they have had or problems that they have had. Emotionally, they were both still attached to each other, despite the fact that neither of them had seen each other or communicated with each other that the other one was aware of for 14 years. They thought it was very one-sided, that the other person didn't care anymore, and that they, were just one-sided feelings about this person. So it just doesn't really make sense that they come back together after all that time, and within 2 days and very little communication are then, while one is engaged, kissing and it becoming sexual. Like, not just like a little, like, no. Like schmexy times are impending here. In the last 20 pages, we found out that she cheated in the past timeline as well as the present. And it went from just cheating physically to cheating, or just cheating emotionally to cheating physically and emotionally in both timelines. We have no reason to care about the characters at all because we've seen no real background for them. We've seen no development for them. And there is no plot. The rain portion. They weren't kissing in the rain. They kissed after they came inside and dried off. I would like to know, is there more rain that they kiss in? Things just got real spicy real quick. So they wake up, have some more sex, shower together. Thankfully, literally, these are just things that are told to us. And then her mom shows up. He answers the door to her mother. Things are about to get real interesting. The mom showed up to tell the daughter that Lon was coming. So now it's going to be played like it's a love triangle. Like she has a choice between Lon and Noah, as if she cares about Lon really at all. She literally says that she loves him. No. The timing couldn't have been better. Love is not a feeling, it is an action. And if you are in a monogamous relationship with someone, about to marry them in 3 weeks, then there's no excuse. You can't say you love a person if you treat them that way. Love is in action, shown through respect, trust. I mean, She said, I don't know, I really don't. While I was in the living room, I kept asking myself what I really wanted in my life. And do you know what the answer is? The answer is I wanted 2 things. That's my sister texting me. First, I want us. I love you and I always have. But I also want a happy ending without hurting anyone. Girl, too late. Too late. Boy, why are you sad? Mama's coming. Yeah. Yeah, Mama, Daddy coming. They'll be here soon. They're just looking for Daddy's disc. He lost his disc. Okay? They'll be here soon. You got your socks off. She said staying there would be betraying everyone she knows? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, how? How would you be betraying everyone you know? By ending your engagement and being with the person that you've already been unfaithful to said engagement with. Like, you already did the damage. You already hurt the people. Whether they find out or not doesn't change the reality that you have made a choice that will affect them in some way. Whether it is by your behavior, your emotions, the way that you handle things. I mean, if you went back to Lon and lied, and then your marriage would forever be forever unfulfilled and not sacred. And that's going to affect you and how you behave, how you act, how you treat other people. You know, that's forever going to impact you and all of the people around you. So going back and lying is worse, even, than coming clean. Because, like, you've already done the thing. You've already impacted all the people around you. Like, you've already done it. It's too late. But, like, I don't understand why she's wording it as betrayal. When you betrayed Lon, you betrayed your parents. How'd you betray anybody else? And now she's about to leave and is, like, acting like she can't be with him. And that she's gonna leave and then they're never gonna see each other again. And, like, being with Lon is not a choice. That's not an option that you should have the right to choose. That should be up to Lon. When you tell him the truth, it should be his choice. Whether he's willing to forgive that or and marry you anyway or not. You're still not married yet, so it's his choice. Hold up. Hold the heck up. She drives away. She goes in to talk to Lon. And that's where the story ends. So I close the notebook, remove my glasses, and wipe my eyes. What do you mean that's where the story ends? What do you mean that's the end of what you have written in the notebook? So they're in an assisted living home at this point, is the idea that we're getting. And the redeeming line of this book happens. They're my friends, and when I push open their doors, I see rooms that look like mine, always semi-darkened, illuminated only by the lights of Wheel of Fortune and Vanna's teeth. After he finishes reading the story, She says, "That was a beautiful story." Except it isn't, so there's that. "Did you write it? I've heard it before, haven't I?" "Which one did she finally marry?" "The one who was right for her." "Which one was that?" "You'll know. By the end of the day, you'll know. I don't want to hurt your feelings because you've been so nice to me, but..." Oh wait, her words will hurt me. "They will tear a piece from my heart and leave a scar." "Who are you?" Keep talking. We go back and forth between memories of his and present time things, including sitting down and talking to his kids and telling them the story. And so when he tells them the story, we finally get the information about how she went, took Lon to a church, sat on a bench outside of a church, and they talked. And she told him. And he wouldn't let go of her hand because he didn't want to let go. We keep going. And she remembers who he is. They have some time together before a shift happens. And she forgets again. A few days later, he has a stroke. Of all of the ways that this could have ended, her remembering him after he comes back from the hospital, from his having been in the hospital because of his stroke, and kissing him and then starting to undress him. It's not the vibe. While at the home, it's not the vibe. 1,566,339 ratings, with an average rating of 4.13. And furthermore, there is a sequel. I don't understand. Sally Hepworth, 5 stars. I don't get it. I don't get it. I do still have the ebook of Safe Haven. I have the ebook for A Walk to Remember, and then I have the physical book for Every Breath. Ugh. But I will not be keeping this book in my life for too long. I will be hanging on to the physical copy just long enough to talk about if I do continue with the other ones. Like rereading the one and then reading the other few. I feel like I kind of have to at this point to see if he can redeem himself because, oh gosh. This is one of those books that I could use as a coaster. I actually sort of already did use it as a coaster. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so that you can join the Bear Scouts and the notification bell so that you will be notified when I post a new video. But most importantly, so that I can see you again very soon. Peace out, Bear Scouts.